Hello, and welcome to the Homeschool Conversations Africa podcast. Here, we discuss homeschooling from the African perspective and the unique challenges that come with it. If you're considering homeschooling, we hope to inspire you as you take this bold step. If you're already a homeschooler, we're here to share encouragement for this wonderful journey we're on to educate our children in the best way we can. We are your hosts, Jifa Andam and
Carissa Nete Mabel.
Let's dive right into today's conversation.
Previously on Homeschool Conversations Africa.
We are very happy to have a wonderful lady in our midst, a lovely stay-at-home mom. This wonderful lady I'm talking about is Tomilola Olatunde. She's a blogger. You can find her on Instagram at the Cuddle Blog.
I started asking a lot of whys. I started asking myself as well what my experience in school was. It wasn't pretty, especially growing up in boarding school and all of that. It wasn't like I didn't have a good experience, because in my own experience, it was, you failed this exam, so you have to repeat a class. So because I failed an exam, I had to change schools like 3 times, because they felt I was intelligent, right? And when I got to university, I only needed to apply myself, and I really aced all my exams and all of that. So I went through a period in my life where I felt like I was a failure just because of a report card, and it extended away from secondary school to university until I had to sit down and think to myself, somebody actually spoke to me and he told me, you can actually be better, you can do standard. But if my parents had looked beyond the grade, to me as a person, they'll know that, this child is intelligent. It's just, she's probably just playing too much, or she's not, focusing on studies and things like that. They would have curbed it. But I went through a whole period in my life where I felt like a failure because of school and grades, right? So I said I wasn't going to put my child through that.
You just had a baby. I mean, like you're saying, how has it been with trying to homeschool with the baby? I can imagine that maybe you're taking things slow now, as you said, that he's always bored. But how's that experience been like?
With a baby, it's different. So different. I didn't expect it, but and the reason why it's so different is because I'm always tired. I'm always tired now. So, but I tell myself that it's only going to be for it's not his business that I had the baby, right? It is business as far we are a family, but his education should not be delayed, quote unquote, because I had a baby. Right. So of course, I took my time off, but this year I decided that, okay, we'll do what we can, but I ensure that I am committed to the process. So I won't say because I'm tired that we won't go out on our regular outings. I won't say because honestly, left to me, I feel like just staying at home, but I'm like, I'll do it. So this is the second week now. I've gone to like 4 places already. So I'm like, I have to do it because he is not waiting because he's not the one that gave birth to the child. It's me. It should not be delayed, but we take things slow. It's slower pace than we did previous years, but it is not stopping, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's absolutely different with the baby. I ensure that I focus on him first before the baby, right? And thankfully, the baby sleeps around the time where we are doing our activities. So when the baby's awake, we can all go out together and all of that. But it's just very tasking for me because I'm always tired.
Do you have any tips to share for moms who have babies?
Get help. Get help.
That's an important tip.
That's my one and only tip. I didn't used to have help for my kids before. I used to be for my child for like cuddles. I didn't have help for him before because I was like, okay, I'm the one that wants to do everything. But now I had to get help. I had to get help for him because when we say we're taking a walk in the morning, someone that will just follow him to take a walk in the morning, that I don't have to take because that's when I want to sleep a bit before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get help as little, as much as possible. Get help, get help, get help, get help. That's my tip.
That's great advice. Yes, I had to do this. I remember I had to do this. And when you just said take a walk, you just took me back because I just remember because you're so exhausted, right? You haven't slept at night, baby has been waking up, and then you wake up and you have this energetic toddler or two ready to
Who
play
wants to do
and
all
do
the
so.
things?
Yes, exactly. So having someone who can just play with them is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, at least for a bit until you are awake enough to do something
Yes,
or
I'm
less
waking up.
grumpy. Yeah. Mhm.
Tomi, anybody who looks at your Instagram page would just think that your posts are so relatable. You talk about so many issues that face us as moms, and I feel like a lot of people get encouragement from you because they know that they are not alone, and maybe some of the things that they are facing are normal.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
homeschooling is not a walk in the park, and it has a lot of challenges, especially with us in Africa. Unfortunately, we have to say it. But could you share with us a couple of challenges that you have faced and maybe how you've dealt with them or how you're still dealing with them?
Okay. Some of the challenges I faced, community, right? Having a community, and like you said, not feeling like you're alone. I feel like you're alone in the journey. And community is a very, very big challenge for me because you you don't want to. There's sometimes that you actually feel like quitting, and you're like, okay, why am I doing this? What? Yeah, like because it's a lot. Especially on the primary caregiver and the one that is really, really involved. It's a lot. So a community has been having a community of other parents that homeschool was a challenge and is still a challenge, which is why we're trying to create a community, having access to information, especially in our climate, right? The information about homeschooling, the idea of homeschooling for a lot of Africans and Nigerians is just schooling at home, right?
Yes.
Having access to information, the right information, and information that is even relevant to you as an African, as a Nigerian, for your own environment is very, very important. And those are one of the challenges I had, which is why I had to start talking about my journey, So you know that when if you're in the US or in another country, you have access to, you can decide that you want to go into the woods or wherever. But in Lagos, or even forming a community in Lagos, Nigeria is very, very hard.
With all the traffic.
For example, if you're with the traffic, that's a challenge. So even when you say, okay, please, can we meet up? And the person is somewhere on the mainland and you're somewhere on the island, and you're thinking, okay, the person is thinking that's 2 hours traffic. And then we'll come and only spend 10, 15, 30 minutes and I have to go back into traffic. Right?
Yeah.
So even the experience in Abuja, for example, than Lagos is different.
It's true.
Absolutely different. Because the traffic in Abuja is not as much as the traffic in Lagos. So that's another huge challenge, is even getting that community together. Right? So those are some of the challenges we face. And access to information, access to affordable options, right, of different things to do. The options of different activities to do. in all the developed countries, you have somewhere you can go and see. You can decide to visit NASA, for example, right? You can
Yeah.
decide to visit a public library that is not dirty and dusty with archaic books. You know,
Yeah.
you can decide to visit places that you can decide to visit a huge aquarium that has vast number of ocean animals that you see and you can appreciate. But we have very, very limited resources as well in Africa and Nigeria. So those are some of the challenges, but we make do with what we have, thankfully. Right? So we make
Yeah.
do what we have, give the experiences that we can give, and then we'll Google the rest.
I love that. I love that.
That's great.
That's so true. Hmm. That
It's
isn't, I mean, that's
heartbreaking,
partly
but
why we
it's
started
yeah.
this whole podcast, isn't it, Carissa?
Mm,
Yes, this is the very reason. Like, well, we have limited
Yeah,
resources, but let's try to connect people. Let's encourage
yeah,
each other so that we don't feel like, because you can't, even if there are people, you don't know where they are, and even when you find them, like you said, depending on where you are, trying to meet can be difficult. In other places, there are so many homeschoolers that you just look around you and you find,
yeah.
a number of people that you can do things with. But hey, little by little, I like to think that we are setting a foundation, we are building a
yes,
foundation so that in future it won't be as difficult,
yes,
for
Mm,
other
yes.
people.
yeah.
So, but tell us a bit about your community. Please tell our listeners, so because maybe there are people in Lagos listening who are thinking the same as you, who want to be a part of a community. So, do you want to tell us a bit about this community that you're trying to get together in
Yeah,
Lagos?
yeah. So the community, so there are people that they homeschool and they are friends and they meet up and stuff. But I wanted to create a community where, and because of the unique challenge that we have in Lagos, a community that you can actually find people that are close to you, right?
Mm,
And not
Yeah.
just so I'm more right now even focused on building a database
Okay.
more
mm,
than, oh, let's go out.
Mm,
But we're trying to do outings first, you know, so that you can go through the database and see someone that's close to you and connect with the person, right? So that because of the unique challenge we have in Lagos, you don't have to go across, you don't have to go across the literally go across the ocean to find to find the family you're looking for. Because as people are getting more aware, we're getting more people. So as we keep growing, we get more people that are in Keja, get more people that are in Lekki, get more people that are in Egbeda, so that you can find somebody
yeah.
close to you. That's the goal. But for now, we're still doing meetups here and there to start with, to even see what parents want, right? To have a feel of what they want so that we can now structure it, around that. So it's still forming and we're still,
Okay.
trying to build it.
That's an excellent idea. So ultimately, you end up with these satellite groups all over
Yep,
Lagos, right?
yeah.
yep.
That's excellent. So, friends, if you're listening and you're somewhere and you're thinking, I don't know, there are no homeschoolers around me, Tomi has given you an idea. So, get with it. Oh, so Tomi, tell us, when you mentioned that sometimes you feel like giving up, and that is so true. Don't we all feel like that sometimes? Because it can be a lot of work. But don't be
Yeah.
discouraged, people. As much as it can be work, it can be rewarding too. But what keeps you going? What keeps you going in those moments, or what kind of helps you, rejuvenate when you have those low moments, shall I call them?
So what keeps me going is I think through the process, right? So what made me doubt myself recently was somebody's opinion, right? The person spoke to me and I felt that okay, maybe not, maybe, but when I go back home, I thought through what the person said to me to see whether it was true or not. Then I thought through what I've seen with my son, and the person does not know this boy. And he just made a comment that made me start doubting myself. So I just thought through the whole process again. And I'm like, okay, no, that's what now made me, strengthen my resolve and say, no, it can't be because of this that I will quit. Right. So if I get to those moments, I just think through everything again and think through how beneficial it's going to be for him, how beneficial it is for me and his future, basically, that every short-term discouragement is not enough for the long-term reward, right, for his future. So yeah, that's how I try to get myself out of the funk.
Nice. We should have a quote. Every short-term discouragement is not enough. What did you say? We must put that down. That's a good one. Yes.
We've talked about the challenges of homeschooling, and I mean there are a lot. But could you tell us what some positives are? What are some positive aspects of this journey? And like, despite all the challenges that you had, just let us know what some wins you had, and how has this impacted your son and your family as well?
Okay, I like the question. The wins for me is I like what I sometimes love the most is that we don't have to rush for anything. Like, we're not in a hurry. The life in Lagos is very, very fast paced. But seeing that I don't have to put my child through that fast paced life is such a win for me, right? And even we go to places during the week and everywhere is empty. It gives me so much joy. I can't explain it.
It's a plus.
It gives me so much joy. I can't explain it. Then also seeing my son thrive. I see so many things online. People that say that their 4-year-old is doing homework and they're beating the child.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, thank you that I don't have to do homework. Thank you that I don't have to beat my child to do homework. And I'm like, thank God I don't have to do that. So it's a huge win for me to see that my child will grow up loving learning. He's going to love it. He loves it. He's picking up a book for him to read is not a chore.
Yeah.
Right. And it gives me so much joy. To be honest. It gives me so
that's
much joy.
So true.
That's my biggest win. Yeah, that's my biggest win.
Yeah, that's a big one, definitely, and that's a true point, because there isn't this burden on him. And just saying that reminds me again, like, as homeschoolers, we have to remind ourselves, especially I think for some of us who had kids in school before, and then pull them out, we may still be stuck with some of those what do I want to call it, behaviors. The whole homework, okay, we have to get this done, all of that. We are not saying don't be disciplined, certainly be disciplined, but that whole, sometimes I keep saying this on this podcast, because I keep having to remind myself, we are not in competition with anybody. What's important is that the kids are learning. So yesterday, for instance, we got up, early, got started and everything. But at the end of the day, my daughter, one of them, she had only completed 2 subjects for that day. And I just felt like, only 2, even though she did a lot of reading in between, and I was like, what does it matter? It's 2, but she was learning, So if it's 2 things and she learned them well, that's what's important. Not that we were able to check the box off for the 6 things, but it's something that you have to constantly remind yourself of, because bad habits are hard to break. So That's
Sure.
that's definitely a big win. So Tomi, I want you to speak to a mother out there who's in your shoes, or in the shoes that you were in maybe 3 or so years ago, 4 years ago, when you were making the decision to homeschool. If you had to tell that mom 3 things to consider before making the jump, what would they be?
First thing I would say is to consider is to ensure that your spouse is on board with you. And when even if they're not on board, keep striving to bring them on board, because it makes your journey easier. It makes it enjoyable. Your spouse is not undoing what you're doing, and their own beliefs is not interfering with what you believe, right? So I think that it's for me, that's a very, very, very important thing that you need to do before you start. Get them on board, or even when you're starting, as you keep starting, just continue trying to get them on board, because it's important. Not because you're trying to gain their approval, but because your journey will be better, will be so much better and seamless with their cooperation, right?
Yeah.
And I'll also say take it slow. You have a lifetime ahead of you. You don't have to get it right the first year, second year, third year. Heck, you know, people that are
12th year.
are still trying to get it right. Yeah, it will come at you so fast. Much information, come at you so fast, and you want to try them all. Try them all, but you don't have to get it right the first year, the second year. So take it slow and give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. I can't say that enough, because the days will be hard. There's some days that'll be very hard. There's some days you won't be able to do anything. Just know that you are trying to live life with your children. It's not just about, like you said, checking the box of the 6 things that you want to do. If all else fails for the day, right? Just live your life together and learn along the way. Yeah.
That is such a good piece of advice. Remembering to take things slowly and give yourself grace and just live life and learn alongside your children.
Yeah.
I remember I was flipping through some curricula just a few days ago, and I was getting a little bit overwhelmed with all that I was seeing. And I just thought, look, even if I don't know any of these things, it will be a good chance for me to learn them, to learn right alongside her. So that's a really good piece of advice. We feel like you have more to tell us, but is there anything else that you'd like to tell our listeners? Maybe we have to schedule another meeting because
So you don't have to feel like you need to know before. You don't have to be you don't have to have a degree, in education. You don't have to. Remember first that you are their mom or their dad, as the case may be, and you want the best for them. Everything that can be learned can be learned, whether you are 7 or you are 47, right? Everything that can be learned can be learned. What I do as a business, I learned off of Google, right? So
yeah, that's a good point.
You can always learn. And I try to remind myself and tell myself that I'm the older one here, right? So what is this? What is it that you're learning in that thing? What's that thing that you're learning? You're how old? I can learn it. And even if you can't learn it, and it's because there are some things that will definitely fly above your head sometimes, you can always get help.
That's true.
So have that at the back of your mind to boost your confidence that even if I can't learn it, I can always get help. If I'm not good at math and I need to, my son is asking me a question about math that I can't ask, I'll say, wait, let's go and check, right? So don't be too ashamed that you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell things that you don't know. Because you can, like you said, Carissa, it can really get overwhelming when you look at it and you be like, okay, why this, why that? And then you're like, okay, let's just forget it.
Yeah.
I'll move on to something else. But you can always get help and you can always Google it. Always.
That's true.
So,
Teacher Google.
That's my confidence. That's my confidence.
It's so funny. So true. Sometimes I feel like, how many times do I tell the kids, oh, wait, let me check that. Wait, I'm always checking things. But they know now. So even sometimes when I say when I say to my youngest, like, I don't know, he say, Google it. I'm like, okay. I guess we know where to go to find answers.
Yeah.
But if it makes you feel any better, it's not like, look, I have a friend who, in fact, I know a couple of people who teach, and I get some insider info, and they tell me, please relax. Like, it's not much better here. When we lay out the curriculum for the year, we also don't finish it. We also don't finish all the things we say we'll do. So that kind of makes me breathe again a bit. Like, okay,
we put so much pressure on ourselves because we feel that we're trying to match up with and ensure that we're trying to prove to everybody else that like, no, these children are staying here, so they should know this thing, they should know that. So we put so much pressure on ourselves, right, to ensure that they match up, so that anybody cannot say, oh, it's because they are not going to school, right?
But it's not our fault, is it? Is it with all the pressure that we have? People looking at it's like people are just waiting for you to fail so that they can say, I told you so.
I remind myself that even if I fail, it is my child, Abby. So
it's on your head.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, this has been so much fun, Tomi. I don't want this conversation to end, but we have to let you go so that you can see to those precious little ones. But thank you so much for joining us today. We've had a wonderful time. We should definitely have you back again to talk about some other things.
Thank you.
Tomi, could you share with us your socials so that people know where to find you?
Oh, yes.
So I am at the Cuddle Blog on Instagram and www.thecuddleblog.com.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, dear listeners, from Carissa and I. It's been a great conversation. We hope you've been encouraged by Tomi. We hope you've learned some things from her. And if you're on the fence, maybe she's helped you a bit to make your decision. So thank you once again for tuning in and joining us. And we hope to see you again next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.